Hey Eurovision fans, we now know there's 16 songs competing in semi-final number 2 of Eurovision 2025. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun and try and predict the running order for semi-final number 2, but really this is just a chance to take a vibe check. What is the mood of it and who stands out? So let's kiki. Hi, my name is Tom, I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So in case you didn't see, I already did a video where I did the running order prediction for semi-final number 1. So I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did then about what the producers are looking for in their running order. But a quick summary is there's no set rules, but if we look at previous running orders, we can see there's a pattern where they're trying to mix up the tempo. So fast songs followed by ballads. They're also trying to vary male and female artists, groups and solo artists. They have to consider props, big props that need to be wheeled onto the stage. They tend to put those songs at the end or before or after ad breaks. You may have seen that I posted on my Instagram about the historical dates when the running order has been released. So we're most likely going to get it on either the Tuesday, March 25th or Tuesday, April 1st. Before we go and look at my semi-final 2 predictions, let's take a quick check-in on what I had for semi-final number 1 because I need to make some changes. Thanks to everybody who left me really great comments on my first video, making a lot of good points. One of them being that Spain and Italy are too close. Last year, which was the first year we had the automatic qualifiers competing in the semi-finals, all 6 of them were spread out pretty evenly. So Italy and Spain here are a little bit too close. And I also have San Marino and Italy too close. So let's fix that and put Italy here. Let's budge Cyprus over. Let's move Azerbaijan here, Spain there, and San Marino here. And then let's do one more switcheroo. Every single time I do this, I end up with a different combination. It is so hard to know what the running order is if you don't know what the staging is, what are the colors, what are the props. When you know that visual package, it all makes more sense. Okay, so here, anyway, I've split up Italy and Spain. A lot of people thinking that Spain will actually be in the first half, which I think is very possible. A lot of people as well saying that they think San Marino will close. That'll be really interesting if that's the case because they closed recently with Say Na Na Na. So that'll be a good way for us to see what are the priorities with the producers. Do they care if someone closed recently or not? If San Marino closed, then they don't care. If Belgium closed, then I think one of their considerations is we want to give different countries a turn to close because it has such a good qualification rate. Another big topic was me putting Estonia first. A lot of people, actually the majority of people leaving comments, actually had Iceland opening. I totally agree that that would be a perfect opener. Super fun, super family friendly, really joyous, gets the party started. The one thing is it doesn't fit in with the pattern of the opening song being all or mostly in English. You know, Estonia is half English, half Italian, but the Italian is very simple. So this is going to be really interesting to see because if they do put Iceland first, this will be the first time for, I don't know if it's ever, but a really long time. That'll be a really interesting insight into this list of unofficial rules, these patterns that we see. What is their priority? If the priority is fun, then it's going to be Iceland. If the priority is having some English, then I think it's going to be Estonia. So that's going to give us a really interesting insight when that running order is released. In any case, this is not the semi-final number 1. And this is the semi-final number 2 video. But I just wanted to acknowledge all those really good points. And I'm going to consider them in this video for semi-final number 2. Okay, I got rid of the numbers just to make things easier. So we have the first half, the second half, and we have the 3 automatic qualifiers for the semi-final. Okay, so first of all, let's do a little bit of a vibe check on the semi-final. And I think the semi-final is significantly more balanced than the first one. In the first semi-final, we had 26 men and 4 women. And in this semi-final, we have 9 men and 20 women competing in total. It is female dominated, but nowhere near the extent that semi-final 1 was male dominated. I just feel like there's a much better spread of different musical styles. Whereas I feel with semi-final number 1, there were a lot of problems, like we had too many of one type of song in one section and in another. I feel like there's much better spread of musical styles in this semi-finals. There's less problems to solve, which means I think that the producers have a lot more freedom in how they organize this semi-final. Keep in mind now, we don't know what the stagings are. We have a rough idea from some of the national finals, but no country is tied down to the national final staging that they had. They can completely change it if they want to. So we're obviously doing this with very limited information. Don't take it too seriously. It's a little bit of fun. Let's first have a look at this first half and let's split them up into tempos. So we've got more up-tempo fun songs. We have Ireland, Australia, Armenia, and Tautu Meitas from Latvia. Those are the kind of more like upbeat tempo, positive ones. And then more kind of serious or severe, we have these 4. So there's actually quite a nice split here between up-tempo songs and low-tempo. We also have a similar split in the second half as well, where we've got 4 very up-tempo songs and then 4 songs which are a little bit lower tempo. So again, much easier job for the producers. This also makes it much more difficult for us to decide where the 3 automatic qualifiers going to go. In terms of genders, we have 4 lead male vocalists and 4 lead female vocalists. In the second half, we have 6 lead female vocalists and 2 men. So a little bit less men in the second half. All 3 of these have lead female vocals though, so there's not too much we can do about it. That does make me think though, maybe they'll be putting Germany in the second half just to have another man there. But otherwise, I feel like it's really, really difficult to know where the automatic qualifiers are going. And I think those decisions will be made on staging. It'll be, what's the color palette? What's the vibe? Do they have any props? Where can we use these 3 kind of wild cards to lift up the show or just add in a little bit of variation? Let's start off with who's going to open the show, because that's a nice starting point. I'll put up a graph here. I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did in my last video because I've already explained this, but the pattern that appears to exist with the openers is that they're in English, they're fun and upbeat and welcoming, they're high tempo, family friendly, get the party started. Somebody left me a really, really cool comment on my last video about how they didn't know Eurovision at all, and watching the Roop discotheque was their first introduction to Eurovision. So that's what the producers need to be thinking. The first song is so important for trying to entice casual viewers, people who don't know the contest, trying to get them to watch more of the show. So it needs to be something strong, but not necessarily winner. You don't want to put your winners at the start. With that in mind, I think that one of the opening songs is going to come from these top 4 because they're more tempo, they're a little bit more happy. You know, Tautu Metas is in Latvian. I don't think they're going to start with that. It's beautiful, but it's a bit too eccentric. So I think we've got 3 potential openers. Australia for me seems a little bit too naughty to open the show. You know, this ice cream is a metaphor for something. It's a metaphor for a lot of things, but one of the things is naughty. So for me, the obvious opener by absolute far is Ireland. It's fun, it's upbeat, it's in English, it's super child appropriate. Not only is it the child appropriate, it's the most child friendly song, I think, in the entire contest. Younger viewers who may be unable to watch the first hour or so, this is something that's absolutely perfect for them. It's a fun, decent song, but it's not a potential winner, but it's not too weak that it's going to turn people off and go, oh, this year's bad or something. So I think this is an absolutely perfect opener. Feels way more obvious to me than semi-final number 1, where it could be Estonia, could be Iceland, could be somebody else, could even be Sweden. With that in mind, then I think you'd want to spread apart these upbeat songs. I feel like Australia is going to be later just because it's a little bit more naughty. You want to kind of leave naughtier songs as late as possible. Keep in mind that the Eurovision semi-finals starts before the Watershed in the UK. It starts at 8 o'clock, whereas the Watershed's at 9 o'clock. So I think they'll just want to like play their cards right and put it as late as possible. If we kind of look at everybody else in the semi-final, I've got to do a very quick introduction for everyone. So this is Emi, Parg, Tautu Metas, Gojo, JJ, Claudia, Nina Zizic, and Katarsis. Okay, so let's have a look at the vibe of everyone else. We've got Katarsis doing something very, very different, but a little bit more severe, a little bit more serious. But I still think this is very useful because it's just so different from everyone else in the semi-final. It's just going to feel totally unique following anyone, but you don't really want it following too serious a song. Like you wouldn't want it before or after Montenegro. Claudia's got a ballad as well, but it's got a little bit of a beat behind it. So do you feel like that's something special? And then JJ's also got a ballad, but it's also got the techno opera. So I feel like these two have a little bit of something extra special. They're kind of like ballad plus ballads with a beat. So I think that those are useful. So following on from Emi, I feel like it's probably going to be one of these 4. I'm going to say it's Greece because I think they'll want to keep up just a little bit of energy. I feel like this contrast with Emi, but it doesn't go too deep and serious like Montenegro would. There's also an very interesting question here is how much do they care about Montenegro and Latvia, who have had serious qualification woes in recent years? Do they know that they have bad qualification rates? Do they care? This is going to be something really interesting to me because if they did care about the fact that Montenegro has a 5 non-qualification streak and are coming back to the contest after a hiatus, they're going to put it as late as possible. If they don't care, they might put it in the second slot. So this again is going to be really interesting for us to see what are the priorities of producers. Do they care about history or do they really not give an F and they just want as what they consider a funnest show as possible. Also keep in mind that Montenegro has a small population. So do they want to give a better slot to a country that's not really drawing too many fans to the contest? Or would they want to give it to Greece, which I think has a population of around 11 million, which is, I think, one of the biggest. Australia is 25, I think. I think Greece has the second biggest population in the semi-final. So are they going to put it that early? It'll be interesting to see. Other happy songs, Tautomaitas and Armenia, I think they'll want to spread them apart. I think now we could have something a little bit more serene. I did this earlier and I've already forgotten who I put third. I think now might be a good time to have Tautomaitas because it's a little bit more bringing up the energy again, but it feels really, really different. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 non-English songs, so they'll probably want to space them apart a little bit as well. After Tautomaitas, I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're going to put Austria fourth. Now, a little bit of that is because last year, that's where Nemo was put. They were one of the favorites to win the contest. They had a popper song that had a little bit more of a low tempo feel in parts of it. I feel like JJ's got a lot of similarities with that. So I'm just saying, you know, we don't have that much to work on. I'm noticing a little bit of a pattern there. I wonder, are they going to give JJ fourth slot there? Then if they did, I think the producers are going to want to make a little bit of a joke with the UK because the song is called What the Hell Just Happened. So I think that they're going to want to put it after something a little bit unusual because that'll be like a little bit of a producer joke. You know, maybe they could put it after Malta in the second half or after Finland. You know, what the hell just happened to us? My gut instinct is that they'll want to put the UK here in the fifth slot. I think it complements really well after JJ. You can have the joke of what the hell happened after that popper moment. And also, I think they're going to have some really cool and ambitious staging as well. So that could be a little bit of a fun moment. Then after the UK, you could have something like Lithuania. It would really, really pop after the UK. Really, really different vibes. Then up to something a little bit more exciting with Armenia, Montenegro, and Australia. Now, if Montenegro gets put before Australia, I think that is absolutely not really ideal. Not only are they being given as quite late in the first half, which makes them almost pretty much in the middle second half, it also pops so perfectly with Australia. My God, there's such a contrast. And I think this makes both of them shine, because if you thought that this was a little bit too slow and you weren't that into it, this is like super fun and exciting. On the flip side, another possibility as well is if they put Australia before, that could also possibly help Montenegro even more, because if you thought that it was a little bit too silly, a little bit too whimsical, then you have something very serious and beautiful afterwards. I'm going to put Australia here. I think Armenia got a pretty good running order last year. Were they 6th or 7th? I would kind of want to split up the UK and Australia, and also I'm keeping in mind what people tell me about the first semi-final video. I'm putting the UK in 5th. I'm going to try and put someone else around 10th or 11th, and then the last person around 16th, just to spread them out as much as possible. Another thing to consider, though, is that Australia might have a prop. You know, if we think about props, Austria might be going for something pretty big. If so, maybe they'll be in the 6th slot. Maybe we can do a swap between Lithuania and Austria, but then we'd have Greek, Latvian, and Lithuanian back to back to back. Do they want to mix it up with a bit of English? I'm not sure. So this is where props could be a factor in determining. UK has had props recently in the last few years. But yeah, we don't have that information, so it's pretty hard. I'm imagining Australia might bring on the ice cream van in the same way that they brought on the car for Voyager, which may have been one of the reasons why Voyager was last in the semi-finals, because they had the cars on the stage. So it gives them more time to get the cars off afterwards, because there's a break after the last song. Okay, so that's my best attempt at guessing the first half. Quite a lot. It's quite lady heavy at the start. We've got 4 out of the first 5 songs ladies. Then we've got guys. I'm being favorable here to Montenegro because they're returning to the contest. Last year, Luxembourg returned to the contest and they got given the best running order slot. Again, are the producers going to take in qualification records? If they are, Tautomaitas is going to get given a better slot than that. So maybe you could swap Armenia and Latvia there. Armenia were second with Brunette, weren't they? But then Lad and Eve, I think they got a better slot. This feels really, really hard because, like I said, with semi-final number 1, there were so many problems you had to solve. There's not really that many problems with this. You've got a good variation in artists, styles, musics. So really, you've got much more freedom to do any type of list. But let me know, what would you do? How would you put the first half? Do you think the UK is right there? Okay, let's go to the second half. And after coming off something fun, first of all, let's get a bit of a vibe check on the second half. So we've got 4 fun ladies in the second half. I think 2 of them are like naughty fun, Malta and Finland, and 2 of them are a little bit more family-friendly lady fun, Denmark and Luxembourg. Then we have, let's leave Germany out of it for now. Then we have the 4 other songs, which are a little bit slower tempo. Obviously, Czechia is kind of in the middle because it has a dance break, it has a little bit more dramatic, fun elements. And then we have like 3 kind of more typical ballads. Georgia with some small ethnic moments. And so 2 super pure ballads, whereas in the first half, we only have 1 pure ballad. So maybe they might put France in the first half. I'm not sure. I'm not going backtracking. Let's just stick with what I've got. So yes, I feel like Malta and Finland need to be separated. Again, both of them have a little bit of slightly naughty aspects. So I think they'll want to put them as late as possible, but not back to back. I also feel like of these 4, these are going to be the 4 contenders to close the show. Luxembourg did it last year, so I don't know if they're going to give it to them 2 years in a row. I don't know if they want to reward Malta for all the trouble that Malta's caused them this year. So I feel like they'll put them as late as possible, but without feeling like they're doing them a favor. Denmark is another potential closer as well. That would be a huge boon for Denmark with their 4 non-qualification streak if they could get the last slot. Malta on a 3 non-qualification streak. The qualification streaks in general for the semi-final 2 are worse. So let's try and work out who could potentially close the show. And for me, the most obvious person is Finland. It's just got that big epic quality. It feels like such a giant concert field, just wonderful way to finish off a semi-final with an electric, crazy energy. One small thing against that is that Finland did close in 2023 with Kari, Cha Cha Cha. So again, it comes back to what is the priority list for the producers? Do they want to spread it out? As I said earlier, like how many years have to pass before you're allowed to be the closer again? It's only been 2 years for Finland. It's been 6 years for San Marino. So is there like a magical virtual line, or do you just need to add up all things together? But for me, the obvious closer is Finland. It is just perfect, epic, stadium rocking finale. So I'm just going to stick with that for now. With that in mind, then I need to put Miri Conte as far away as possible, still keeping it kind of late so that it's after 9 o'clock. And then we need to split up these other 2 ladies as well. So let's put Luxembourg near the start, Denmark in the middle. So coming off of Australia, I think Aber and Tina could actually be a good contrast slot. That'd be in the 10 slot, which means that we're kind of like 5, 10, around 15 or 16. So keeping a distance from the UK. Following on from that, then it might be good to have a ballad. I think they're going to put Georgia pretty early. I don't think it's a big draw. I don't feel like they're going to feel like they owe Georgia anything too much with this kind of an entry. Following that, we need something happy. Now might be a good time. So Denmark falling off the board. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? They maybe come up with Luxembourg. Luxembourg got the best slot last year. So, maybe give them something. It's still a good slot, but just not as like, maybe they don't want to draw any accusations of bias. Again, there's like a really good spread of tempos in here, so I don't feel there's as much constraints. I feel like they have a lot of freedom. Maybe Israel will be a good contrast to that. I don't know if that's too many ballads back to back, though. Maybe they want to have something. Let's work backwards from Finland. Let's actually put France there, because it's one of the favorites to win. It contrasts really, really, really well with Finland. Another potential song that could there would be Serbia, just based on the fact that Serbia, in case you don't know, has been the most unlucky country with getting first half. They get it 75% of the time, which I did my stats out, is the worst ranked of everyone in Eurovision. So hopefully they'll acknowledge that and give Serbia a pretty good running order. Actually, let's do them a favor. Let's put Serbia there. Let's put France a tiny bit earlier. So we need something upbeat to go between France and Serbia. I think Denmark could be perfect there. Again, I don't want to put Malta here because I think it's too close to Finland. I want the show to get a reputation. Malta might be good here. That could make France pop because these 2 songs are so different between Mariana Conte and Luan. So then we've got Czechia and Israel left. Israel would be good here. I don't know if I like Czechia and Israel being back to back, actually. I did this earlier. This is a different, literally every single time I do this, I come up with a different combination. Okay, let's move Cyprus, Georgia back, because actually I kind of need Germany now as a little bit of a wild card. Let's go happier here, a little bit more serene, a little bit more energy into a ballad. Okay, that works better, I think. But then is Germany too close to France now? Yes, so I think we need to swap these 2 to make them separate again. 18, 5, 13, 18. I think that's spread out enough. Maybe they won't want to give such a good slot to France. Girl, I don't know. There's so many different potential combinations. But let's see, does that roughly satisfy? Like, we're keeping Mariana and Thing apart. We're keeping Germany, France, and the UK apart. Let's look at the ballads. Are they spread out enough? Israel and Serbia, which are kind of the most ballad, you think? Serbia is kind of useful for the producers because it's the only male ballad, pure male ballad. Czechia's got some ballad elements to it, and so does JJ, but like pure old school, like non-stop ballad is Prince. So maybe they'll want to use him in some capacity. Okay, what if we put Israel after Luxembourg. We've still got like an ethnic ballad, upbeat ballad, Inda Club, ballad with a dance break, Mariana. Yeah, I think that maybe works a tiny bit better. I'm trying to put Germany earlier. I feel like they're going to be more around like 10th or 11th. So maybe we swap like that, 18, and we can maybe put France a little bit earlier then. Girl, I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep switching things around. What do you think? What are you thinking about that so far? Okay, let me put some numbers in. Okay, so there it is with all the numbers. I'm actually going to flash up because before I did this video, I did a mock one where I did the running order. So I'm going to put a picture of that up now to show what I originally had. So you can see, I think that's different from what I have here. So yeah, every time I do this, I get a different result. I think it just shows how many viable combinations there are, because again, I think like this semi-final is much more, has much more variation in it. But yeah, my guess is that Ireland will open. UK will be in the first half. Germany and France will be in the second half. Feel like they'll probably want to close with Finland. Hopefully they'll give Serbia a good running order because they never get the second half ever. And I'm hoping they'll give Montenegro a little bit of a break as well because they have that worst non-qualification record 5 in a row. Plus they've been away from the contest 2 years. So I think they'll definitely want Montenegro to qualify so that they'll be back next year. Will they give Latvia such a horrible slot again? I hope I'm wrong about that one and actually they give it somewhere like 9. If they do give Latvia a good slot and Montenegro, it shows that they are considering the woes of countries no matter how small they are. So what do you think? Tell me what's right and wrong. By the way, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to start posting them more often. Okay, so that's what I thought. What do you think about my list? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you to those who've been supporting me on Buy Me Coffee and PayPal. If you think I need an espresso macchiato, I'll leave a QR code for you here and a link in the description. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons for patronizing me from all around the world. On my Patreon, you get early releases, original audio. Go check it out if you're a fan. But of course, thank you so much just for being here. I've seen another Eurovision analysis video very soon. Goodbye.